JMP has always supported robust data management, and now we have one tool that brings that functionality together. I'd like to quickly demo how the Columns Manager can help your workflow in under 7 minutes. So I'm looking at some imported raw format genotype data with 70 columns. Each is a genetic cross of 2 parents, and we have some information on the resulting offspring. For example, a scientist measured several continuous traits, and we have genetic markers or SNPs here that are encoded at 0001 or 11. This is whether or not they have the dominant or recessive on each chromosome for the given SNP. So there's some data management to be done. For example, this isn't the suitable coding scheme, and I need to change that coding scheme before performing the analysis. Maybe some of these, for example, disease, status, or sex, are nominal variables, but right now they're being encoded as continuous variables. As you can see, the whole group of the first columns is over here. Maybe there's even some recoding of those, like clean up the formatting and reducing the number of significant digits in these trait columns. So using Columns Manager is a tool to get a high-level control of these data and also allow us to get an idea of what's going on with the specific columns. For example, these trait columns are out too many significant digits. There's some cleanup I'm going to have to perform here. You can find the Columns Manager right here in the Columns menu. Now I have a data table that is both searchable and filterable and contains information on every single column in the data table. So, for example, here I can see I have a column pedigree. It is currently set to a modeling continuous, a numeric data type. That's what the little 1, 2, 3 means here. Formatting is the best formatting up to a width of 12 and so forth. I even can see some summary statistics such as the mean and max values, a quick histogram representing the distribution, and so forth. So with the Columns Manager, we have this powerful summary and control for all of the columns in my data table. We can completely manage all of the columns' metadata, such as their modeling type and other things. So let's use this tool to clean up this data. At first, I wanted to see the continuous columns, so I didn't need to see these SNPs right now. I'm going to go down to our modeling type and filter and say that continuous columns are the only ones that I want to see now. I'm looking at pedigree, sample father, mother. I realize it seems like I just have 2 values in this histogram, and it looks like they're either both 01 or 02. So maybe I realize these should probably be nominal. In fact, all of this pedigree through disease statuses should be nominal, so let's just change that all in a batch. I'm going to click here where we have our modeling type and change them to nominal. And then you'll notice that it's even rippled back into the data table, and our filters have even been applied. So now we're no longer looking at those in our Columns Manager table now. Now, if you go back and do that later, know what I did there was broadcast a command. So when I selected multiple columns and clicked, I was holding down my command on my Mac. You would hold down the control on your Windows to be able to make changes for multiple things simultaneously. That's just a general, really great feature of JMP that if you didn't know about it, you know about it now. Let's say instead that I have these 4 trait columns. And again, it looks like we're out a lot of significant digits here. And I want to be able to reformat them. So I'll do that right here. Let's click on Format, and I'll say I want to apply these changes to all 4 of my selected columns. I'll select them and fix decimal columns out to 3 decimal places. Now you'll notice in the background in our data table that is changed and everything is well. As a couple more cleanup steps here, let's look at all these SNP columns, and there's a lot of them. As you remember, we had them encoded at 00, 01, and 11, and it's helpful sometimes if you have a particular column that you need to figure out exactly what the values are in that column, you can right-click and find out more information. Let's go ahead and right-click and go straight into the distribution platform to check that out. So I want to recode these values. I want them to be 0, 1, or 2. So instead of going into the code tool, recode tool separately, I can do that inside the Columns Manager. I will select all of our columns, right-click them. I said I wanted to go to 0, 1, or 2. I'm going to select recode. And now once again, in that data table, we can see that the change has rippled through. So to summarize, here are some of the things that the column manager can do for us. You get statistical and graphical summaries of every column in your data table. You can manage all of the column's metadata. So we've done the modeling type and cell formatting already. It's searchable, it's filterable. You can also filter by the existence of column properties, or you can filter just based on your selection, for example. I could even filter down and keep only the ones that I selected. You can also search, so if I wanted SNP 27, I could search for SNP 27 and find it here. We can recode for basic data cleanup as well. And now finally, we can create data dictionaries, which are a crucial thing for record keeping and documentation. Let's say I want to associate notes that define these 4 traits right here. So one thing I could do is for these traits, right click and add a property where one of the properties you can add are notes. I'm not going to add a separate note for each one. I'll just say trait, the definition goes here, and I'll apply this to all. Okay, so I can see that that's now been added to my properties, so let's go and create a data dictionary. Under the red triangle, you can click Create Data Dictionary. I'll go with the default settings, so an information-rich dictionary, and what I get is a JMP journal file that contains the name and attributes of every column in that description field. I can also export this into another format or paste it directly into a document to have a data dictionary outside of JMP. Previously, if you wanted a data dictionary for your data table in JMP, you would need to open up a separate file and start making it by hand. Now JMP will generate it for you. So the Columns Manager is your one place for efficient data assessment and management.